In this chapter, we're going to focus on the following 10 keywords: bystander, homicide, morbid, flourish, melancholy, mellow, graphic, mortify, timid, and entrepreneur. Let's start with the first keyword, bystander. If you look at the picture, you can see two girls are playing ping pong or table tennis, and we have four people watching them. So we have the players and we have the people who are watching. So which do you think is closer to the idea of the word bystander? Let's find out. A bystander is a countable noun. A bystander is a person who is present when something happens and who sees it but does not take part in it. For example, it looks like an innocent bystander was killed instead of you. So this bystander was not part of the action, or didn't have anything to do with it, and they already said he was an innocent bystander. But in this unfortunate sentence, that bystander was killed. And the synonyms for bystander are the words onlooker, passerby, spectator, and witness. So the next time you remember this picture of these two girls playing ping pong, remember the word bystander and what it means. And now for the next keyword, homicide. If you look at the picture, you will immediately notice that it is a crime scene. And this is a figure of a dead body. So how does that relate to the word homicide? Does homicide mean crime or specifically murder? Let's find out. Now, homicide is a variable noun. Homicide is the illegal killing of a person. And homicide is mainly used in American English. In British English, they usually use the word murder instead. For example, the police arrived at the scene of the homicide, the scene of the murder. And synonyms for homicide are the words murder, killing, manslaughter, and slaying. So the next time you remember this picture of a crime scene, remember the word homicide and what it means. And now for the next keyword, morbid. Now if you look at this picture, now obviously this place is a dark, sad place. And if you look at this place, you wouldn't want to be in this place, not even for a short while. So what do you think morbid is about? Does it have to do with the atmosphere of this place? Let's find out. A morbid is an adjective. If you describe a person or their interest in something as morbid, you mean that they are very interested in unpleasant things, especially death. And you think this is strange. Of course, this is a negative word and we use it to show our disapproval. For example, some people have a morbid fascination with crime. And we're not saying that to compliment these people. Actually, we find that strange and we think it's negative. We don't like it. And synonyms for morbid are the words gruesome, sick, dreadful, and ghastly. We can use morbidly as an adverb. For example, there's something morbidly fascinating about the thought. So the next time you remember the picture of this gloomy place, remember the word morbid and what it means. And now for the next keyword, flourish. And if you look at this picture, we can see that all these flowers, they're all opening up, and it is a beautiful scene of nature. But how does that relate to the word flourish? Is it about how beautiful it is, or is it about the flowers and how they are opening? Let's find out. Flourish is a verb. If something flourishes, it is successful, active, or common, and developing quickly and strongly. For example, business flourished and within 6 months they were earning 18,000 rubles a day. And flourishing is the adjective. For example, London quickly became a flourishing port. And synonyms for flourishing are the words thriving, successful, doing well, and blooming. But flourish can also be used in a different context. If a plant or animal flourishes, it grows well or is healthy because the conditions are right for it. For example, the plant flourishes particularly well in slightly harsher climes. And again, flourishing is the adjective. For example, Britain has the largest and most flourishing fox population in Europe. And flourish can also be used in a different context. If you flourish an object, you wave it about in a way that makes people notice it. For example, he flourished the glass to emphasize the point. And synonyms for flourish in this context are the words wave, brandish, sweep, or swish. And flourish in this sense can also be used as a noun. For example, he took his peaked cap from under his arm with a flourish and pulled it low over his eyes. So the next time you remember this picture of those beautiful flowers, remember the word flourish and what it means. And now for the next key word, melancholy. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see that this man might be imprisoned somewhere and he is standing there behind the fence, but might be just the fence of his house, who knows? But the idea, if you look at the man, you can see how sad he is. So how does that relate to the word melancholy? Let's find out. Now, melancholy is an adjective. You describe something that you see or hear as melancholy when it gives you an intense feeling of sadness. For example, we say a painter of haunting melancholy canvases. When you look at his canvases, when you look at his paintings, you have this intense feeling of sadness. Another example, the only sounds were the distant melancholy cries of the sheep. Now, when you hear that, you are filled with an intense feeling of sadness. But that's not all about melancholy. Melancholy can also be used as a noun. Melancholy is an intense feeling of sadness which lasts for a long time and which strongly affects your behavior and attitudes. But I would have to say that this is usually a literary use. For example, I was deeply aware of his melancholy as he stood among the mourners. I could see the intense feeling of sadness he had. Or another example, the general watched the process with an air of melancholy, with an air of this feeling of sadness. And synonyms for melancholy as a noun are the words sadness, depression, misery, and gloom. So the next time you remember the picture of this man from behind the fence, remember the word melancholy and what it means. And now for the next key word, mellow. Now, if you look at this delicious cup, maybe it's cappuccino, mocha, or kind of coffee, but this is not the point. You can see how beautifully served it is, and it looks rich and delicious. But how does that relate to the word we have here, mellow? Let's find out. Mellow is an adjective. Mellow is used to describe things that have a pleasant, soft, rich color, usually red, orange, yellow, or brown. For example, we can say a classic Queen Anne house of mellow red brick with a white portico. Or we can say the softer, mellower light of evening. But that's not all about mellow. Mellow can be used in different contexts. A mellow sound or flavor is pleasant, smooth, and rich, just like the picture we saw. For example, his voice was deep and mellow, pleasant, rich. Or we can say a delightfully mellow, soft, and balanced wine. Well, that is pleasant, smooth, and rich at the same time. Now, synonyms for mellow in this context are the words tuneful, full, rich, or soft. Now, mellow can also be used as a verb. If someone mellows or if something mellows them, they become kinder or less extreme in their behavior, especially as a result of growing older. For example, when the children married and had children of their own, he mellowed a little. He became kinder and less extreme in his behavior. Now, mellow can also be used as an adjective. For example, is she more mellow and tolerant? So the next time you remember this beautiful, delicious cup of coffee, remember the word mellow and what it means. And now for the next key word, graphic. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see that we have designs and mostly geometrical, different colors, but it is a design and it is a beautiful one. I don't know what it is for, but that's not exactly what I'm here to know or what you are here to know. What we need to know is how that picture relates to the word graphic. Let's find out. Now, graphic can be used as an adjective. If you say that a description or account of something unpleasant is graphic, you are emphasizing that it is clear and detailed. We use this word to emphasize that it is clear and detailed. For example, we can say graphic scenes of violence, and sometimes they put this kind of warning at the beginning of movies to let us know what to expect in the movie and know that it's not suitable for all ages. And we can use the word graphically as an adverb. For example, here graphically displayed was confirmation of the entire story. And graphic can also be used in a different context. Graphic means concerned with drawing or pictures, especially in publishing, industry, or computing. For example, when we say fine and graphic arts. And graphic can also be used in a different context. Now, graphics are drawings and pictures that are composed using simple lines and sometimes strong colors. For example, we say articles with strong headlines and graphics. So the next time you remember this picture with all of those geometrical shapes and colors, remember the word graphic and what it means. And now for the next key word, mortify. Now, if you look at the picture, well, you can see that something is wrong. The girl is either embarrassed, shocked, but obviously there is something wrong. Can we say that she is mortified? But what does mortify mean? We need to find that first, so let's find out. Now, mortify is a verb. If you say that something mortifies you, you mean that it offends or embarrasses you a great deal. For example, it would not be the first time Judy has mortified her son, embarrassed or offended her son, but greatly, a great deal. So the next time you remember the picture of this girl, remember the word mortify and what it means. And now for the next key word, timid. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see a man and a girl sitting on a sofa, and obviously, if you can tell, the man is a little bit shy and the girl is smiling about that, or maybe he's laughing about it. So can we say that this is related to the word timid? Is the man timid? Can we say that? Let's find out. Now, timid is an adjective, and timid people are shy, nervous, and have no courage or confidence in themselves. Maybe that's what the man is like. For example, a timid child, Isabella had learned obedience at an early age. A shy child, and shy and nervous. Synonyms for timid are the words nervous, shy, retiring, and modest. And timidity is the noun we can use from the word timid. For example, she doesn't ridicule my timidity. And also we can use timidly as an adverb. For example, the little boy stepped forward timidly and shook Leo's hand. And timid can also be used in a different context, and the meaning here is a little bit different. The first time it was a neutral word, you're just describing how a person is like, but this time in this context, you are showing your disapproval and you are criticizing this person. Now, if you describe someone's attitudes or actions as timid, you are criticizing them for being too cautious or slow to act, because they are nervous about the possible consequences of their actions. For example, the newspaper called the plan timid and unimaginative. And that is criticism. That is not a good thing. And again, timidity is the uncountable noun. For example, he was soon disillusioned by the government's timidity on social reform. And also timidly can be used as an adverb. For example, a number of these states are moving timidly towards multi-party democracy. So the next time you remember this picture of this girl and this shy man, remember the word timid and what it means. And now for the last keyword for this chapter, entrepreneur. Now, if you look at this picture, we can see a young girl. She's full of life. If you look at her, you feel immediately that she is a winner. She looks bright. She looks strong and determined. And maybe she has her own business. She starts something new. Who knows? However, there is no way to tell if she is an entrepreneur or not, but she definitely looks like one. But then, what is the meaning of the word entrepreneur? Let's find out. Now, an entrepreneur is the owner or manager of a business enterprise who, by risk and initiative, attempts to make profits. So these people start new ideas, they take risks, and usually these are the people who make the greatest profits or suffer the worst losses. But no matter how you want to describe these people are courageous and they definitely make a difference. Now, synonyms for entrepreneur are the words business person, tycoon, director, and executive. So the next time you remember the picture of this bright lady, remember the word entrepreneur and what it means. And that's all for this chapter.